And I think this is a perfect opportunity to talk about the ambiguities of English and how the same word can mean something completely different based on the perspective of a person, which is why it's so important to always know the definitions of a word you're saying when you're talking to someone else, because they may be using the same words but have a completely different internal definition to what you have. And so conversing is just going to get you nowhere, because you're starting a conversation based off of completely different definitions but using the same words. So yeah, anyways, that's it. Discrete mathematics, very good for you. Anyways, what am I talking about? Giving up, that's right. So here she says, basically, that giving up is, why is it seen as bad? And like, so I'll play the...
More about life. You can either try again at whatever you're doing and succeed the next time, or fail and learn again, or you can learn more.
Right, so she says giving up, but then she talks about, like, doing something that's too hard and you stop so you can learn lessons. Like a failure, obviously, you can learn a lesson and you can change and do stuff with that. That's like the stopping and the failing part is giving up. Like when you decide to let go, letting go versus giving up, right? Letting go of something. That's what she describes as giving up. To me, when I say the quote, the only sin is giving up, that isn't that situation at all. Because in this situation, you failed, you fucked up, something massive has happened, and you decided to take a break, you decided to recover. You've decided to take your time and process and stop and pause and just learn from things and maybe move on, maybe in a different path. Maybe you decide this isn't it for you and you move on to something else because you've learned things about how you internally function and what you want, and you've evolved as a person. That's not giving up. That's not giving, and this ties to something she says just after. That's not giving up at all. That's letting go of something that you have finally realized isn't good for you, that you don't enjoy. That's not giving up. That's not the sin of giving up. The sin of giving up is when it's something you know you want, when it's something you know your body is capable of reaching. You know everything is there, there's nothing stopping you, there's no burnout, there's nothing that, like, it's you are capable, right? There's no burnout waiting for you. It's like, it's there, but it's just painful and you decide to stop. And obviously, like, so there's a line between like burnout versus painful, and like how do you distinguish that line? I don't know how to word this well. I don't know how to describe it properly. I feel like I'm a very intuitive person. I'm just internally, even though I describe a lot of things like analytically. So I think you just have to know. You just have to know. If you're burnt out, well, by definition, you're not going to be able to keep pushing for something. You have to recover. You have to take a break. That's not giving up. Giving up is when you really want it. You've wanted it all your life, and you still want it when you're moving on to this new life path, but you just look at it from afar, right? You just look at it from afar, and you never try to ever go back to it, even though that's the actual thing you want, right? It's not like, because if you move to a different life path and you're happy on it, right? You're happy on this new life path. This thing, you're not really giving up on it, because it's not something you want anymore. What you want is this new life path that you're enjoying, right? So giving up is only possible when it's something you genuinely want, and something you genuinely want over the period of time it's happening, and like in the future too, right? So changing directions is not at all related to giving up from my perspective. And here in this second bit, I haven't watched the full video, I just saw the 2 minutes. I'm like, it's time to speak. She talks about, right, you've gone down a path really far and you realize it's just not for me, and you're going to stop and you're going to take your time to think and move on and do something different maybe, right? And then other people, notice that other people are saying like, why did you stop? You were doing so well, blah, blah, blah. Their opinion doesn't matter. The only internal direction you should care about is yours. Like, the only direction you should care about really is yours. It's your life, right? Again, I guess that's a good way to describe it. You don't want it anymore. You don't want that thing that you were on that path for so long. So when you decide to change paths because you no longer want it, like, you decide to change paths because you no longer want it, that's not giving up on this thing. You don't want this anymore. Giving up doesn't apply to things you don't want. I guess letting go is the phrase I would use for that, because okay, it's kind of overloaded. Maybe we should add more terms into this fucking framework that I'm using. But yeah, to me, you can't. It's not something you're giving up on. That's something you've learned isn't good for you. You don't enjoy it anymore. Maybe you did enjoy it, but now you don't enjoy it. You don't really want to do this anymore, so you decide to switch, and maybe one day you'll come back. But for now, you decide to switch, and you maybe just meander about or pursue something. Or even if there's no single goal, the act of continuing to push on, that's not giving up, right? By definition, that's not giving up. Because you're continuing, you're striving. Yeah. Like, giving up is something that can only occur when you want it, but you've given up, right? That type of giving up, that's why the only sin is giving up. That's what I mean by the only sin, right? Like, letting go of something you don't want anymore is not a sin. That's good. I would say that's good. Yeah. I've watched a bit more of the video now, so I have more thoughts. Again, Bailey is goated. Just for reference, she's goated. She's goated, chat. So she's talking about. What is she talking? Wait, what happened? I'm sorry. I was thinking about like the audio quality on this, and I think because I was like, maybe the reason the audio quality sounds kind of quiet is because of the cover on my phone, like the phone cover, the screen protector, not a screen protector, but the other thing, the one behind it. Anyways, she's talking about like exploration instead of conquest, right? I agree. It's a balance of exploration and exploitation, which is like a reinforcement learning terminology. I am a computer science nerd in AI. I'm gonna use what I know to make analogies for the world. That's kind of how people work. Yeah, so to my perspective, the only sin is giving up. To me, not giving up means to, like, you can take breaks, you can recover, but to eventually continue exploring, to try to find what fulfills you. And if you don't know what that is, explore, try new things. Don't ever accept a bad life state and just continue to living that out, right? Like, don't settle, basically, don't settle is tied to the idea of the only sin is giving up, right? You should always, well, not, okay, it depends on everyone's, like, personal values on how much risk they're willing to take, how much blah blah blah, but in my opinion, you shouldn't settle for something that isn't even good for you, that you don't even enjoy. That is terrible. You should try, if possible, to be happy but like, not chasing happiness as the primary source, because in my opinion, happiness comes from the byproduct of like a process, which I should probably talk about in a video someday. But yeah, I think exploring is good. I mean, just go watch a video. Like, I think you'll understand. It's like, it's crazy. Humans are crazy. I love humans. I love medicine. Cinema. Oh, I need to gain weight again. Okay, anyways.